Hello everyone, this is Hideo Midoriya. Today we are going to be talking about the problem of, this is Wrestle Talk episode 18 I believe. We'll be talking about why the pay-per-view in Australia on February something will be a bad idea for WWE as a whole, in my opinion. So, let's begin with the obvious one. Elimination Chamber, the pay-per-view might have a match between Roman Reigns and The Rock, if they're not going to do that at WrestleMania. But the problem is the time. It's for American fans. If you do not live in Pacific time, it begins at 6:30 a.m. I feel bad for the people who live in other coasts because it's 1:30 p.m. in the morning or 1:02 p.m. in the at literal nighttime, and most people are asleep by that time. And the problem comes arise what not many people in Australia see as a problem is the fact that in my opinion, is that the fact that Americans now have to suffer what every other country has to suffer through when they watch the pay-per-views. And you want me to tell what the problem is? Not the 6:30 time limit, but the fact that most of the audience who are not adults are children. Even on a good day, most children wake up on maybe 7. On a good day, maybe a kid will wake up at 6:30. And I'm not talking about teenagers. I talk about kindergartners, pre-Kers. They're known for being up earlier. You want me to tell you what? The problem arises when you're gonna have probably good matches, and does it warrant the 6? Would I watch it? This is not a big pay-per-view whatsoever. It's not like a WrestleMania, and that's just known fact. It's WWE has these shows every year, but they're major attractions, but they're not like the big 4. It's a major attraction, but not part of the big 4, which ultimately means to me, if this was like WrestleMania in Australia, that would be a completely different story. But having a dream match, or having any matches that could be cool around 6:30 a.m., and they're going to lose a big part of the American audience, including me. I mean, if they do The Rock versus Roman there, that means I'll just watch it as time goes by, but they're going to miss out on the initial fame for American fans. And I'm telling you, this would definitely drag down the pay-per-view statistically. But I still think it would be a good show, even though no matches are announced for it. The problem arises with the time. The only thing I'm doing at 6:30 in the morning is counting how many championships I'm winning in my sleep. And the only thing that the fans in the West Coast are doing, they're already sleeping, so I mean, that it's good for Australia, but couldn't have they done it in a place where it's closer to the American time zone? But the problem arises is it's not just America, It would be America, Canada, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. Big wrestling fan, big places of wrestling fans besides India. You'll be losing 4 places essentially because of the time zone. Because Canada and Mexico, I believe, have similar time to the United States. It will be outrageously late for them too. So it's like you're losing like every single major audience out there besides India and the rest as far as Europe and Asia goes. You're losing North American fans. You're probably losing some others, like maybe like this is people are going to watch it, but I don't think it will be as outrageous, if they actually booked it where it's almost like similar, where it's late for them and late for us. They could have worked around that. They could have worked around it. By either not picking that time. I'm not sure if this is the firm time or not, but if it is, it's ultimately going to cost revenue. Well, not revenue, because they get paid for the Peacock's prescriptions and stuff, probably. But it's going to cost the American audience to, not watch it. Mostly, I think, you want me to tell you what? Even in the UK, they had it in a reasonable time, because it's not too similar. It's not too far off from the American time zone, so I think it might. I could be wrong about that. So, but the biggest. Not that I'm saying that I'm not going to watch it. I definitely will, but not at 6:30 a.m. It's that this could have been prevented, in my opinion, by by trying to work things out. Like, hey, we don't want to lose this audience here, like the American audience, and we don't want to lose half of North America. You want me to tell you what? Because I'm pretty sure the major revenue sources from watching this would all be from streaming platforms from the other countries, and it's good for them because they get to watch it at a reasonable time. But you have to remember, the American time zone is different than these countries, so you have to try to figure out a way for it to work that doesn't include waking us up at like 6 a.m. in the morning. And they have worked around this with Saudi Arabia, which starts at 12 here. It starts at 12 here, and that's good because it's early in the morning, but not too early. It's not like the problem is when your audience in America, I believe, besides India, maybe like Canada and other countries, are probably the biggest fans of the product. Probably because but the problem arises, as I said, when it's early in the morning. That's the only problem with it. And no dream match is going to make it worth getting up at that time, unless it's a major show like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, WrestleMania, or the Royal Rumble. But besides that, there's no reason why I would understand if all the matches were like dream matches, But if it's just going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, which probably will happen, probably not, but setting it at this time for that one match is not going to make anyone want to watch it any more than it would if it. That's the reason why, if you wanted to save that dream match, you should save it for like maybe a SummerSlam, or actually do. You could have actually done it at the Royal Rumble. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of a wrestling. Will I watch it? Yes, but I would probably watch it around 11, 12, which would be a reasonable time. Put it on about that time and watch it with my family. But that's what I'm going to do for America. I would suggest that everyone do the same because it will be more reasonable. If you're already up around that time, go ahead. But I'm just saying, do it at your own time, you know? If you really want to see Elimination Chamber, don't wake up at 6. That's my opinion. But do it when everyone you want to watch it with is either up or it's a reasonable time for you to watch it. You know, go at your own pace, you know. I definitely have to say that for all the European fans, just know here in America, pay-per-views, it could be long, but 4-hour pay-per-views, you know, that start at like 8 and like at 1 here. So it's basically like you're waking up and we're just going to bed. So don't be, like, normal pay-per-view times are late for us. Like, it's early in the morning for you. I wouldn't be, you know, complaining that much because you could, like, especially if you're an early bird. But raise your hand if you're an early bird. That's my point. I think there's a way to be reasonable between the international and American market to make it more fair, in my opinion. And that's try to figure out a time where it's reasonable for all the countries that you want to, you know, see it. Like, I'm a big fan of Elimination Chamber pay-per-views because a lot of big things happen here. A lot of big things could happen. It starts to WrestleMania. But the biggest problem with having a WrestleMania internationally is time. That's the reason why they haven't done it. Because WrestleMania is the biggest, like, one of the biggest American, you know, things out of its whole history. It's only been to Canada twice, which is the only international WrestleMania ever, which means that if it was going to happen anywhere, it would be somewhere similar to America and Canada as far as time. So the UK or Saudi Arabia, it would happen there before any other international market, probably. By statistical reasons. I wouldn't mean that it wouldn't be cool to see more international pay-per-views. I would love to see one in like India, maybe Japan, maybe, you know, Italy, especially Italy, but they're doing one in France. Why couldn't they do one in Italy? Like, come on, you're so close. They're literally giving each other a high five. Please. Triple H, please. But that's all I have to say. This is Hideo Midoriya. Goodbye.